An isolated community completely disconnected from the main power grid faces a unique survival test. Every watt of electricity consumed has to be generated locally. A hybrid microgrid relies on solar photovoltaics, wind turbines, a battery energy storage system, and a diesel generator. Their power output is stochastic, spiking and dropping dramatically. The battery has strict physical limits, facing severe charge and discharge bottlenecks, known as C-rate limits. When the renewables drop out and the battery drains completely, the grid must fall back on the diesel generator. It serves as the highly reliable safety net to keep the lights on. But running that diesel backup comes with severe penalties. Transporting fuel to remote locations drives up the financial cost, and burning it continually accrues heavy environmental emissions. The core operational problem is figuring out how to maintain continuous, stable power without wasting the excess renewable energy or leaning heavily on expensive fossil fuels. The standard industry approaches to this dispatch problem usually involve mixed integer linear programming or deep reinforcement learning. These methods require massive computational power. In a remote setting, running resource-heavy, opaque neural networks is highly impractical and offers very little transparency for the local operators trying to understand the system's decisions. A newer alternative proposes an interpretable energy management system designed specifically for these isolated grids. Instead of a massive neural network, this system relies on a highly compact control policy driven by exactly 4 operational parameters. To tune those parameters, it uses a metaheuristic optimization engine called the marine predators algorithm. This algorithm evaluates the hardware limits and continually searches for the most efficient parameter combination to adjust the grid's output on the fly. The result is a transparent, controller-ready mathematical model that balances the power load instantly without sacrificing reliability. This entire energy management system operates on one strict, unyielding sequence of priority: solar PV, then wind, then battery storage, and finally the diesel generator. Because wind and solar have zero marginal fuel costs, they're dispatched first. Diesel is forced to the bottom of the list, strictly a last resort. We can watch how this hierarchy handles a 24-hour cycle by mapping power supply against a baseline demand curve. In the early morning, solar generation is negligible, so wind turbines provide the vast majority of baseload support. As the sun rises and we hit midday, photovoltaic generation spikes aggressively, dominating the energy supply and pushing total power well above the demand curve. The system captures that midday surplus, routing the extra renewable power into the battery pack. Later, during the evening peak, it discharges that stored battery power to fill the gap between the waning wind supply and high user demand. If the battery depletes entirely and a deficit still remains, only then does the diesel generator activate to cover the remaining load. By enforcing this cycle, the algorithm ensures the battery reaches a stable state of charge recovery by the end of the 24 hours, ready to repeat. By adhering strictly to this physical dispatch sequence, the microgrid actively forces a reduction in emissions and dictates its own environmental sustainability. Behind that physical power dispatch is a highly specific mathematical objective function. The system achieves operational balance by evaluating 5 variables into a single cost equation. First are the direct penalties tied to the diesel generator, the immediate financial cost of the liquid fuel, and the corresponding cost assigned to its carbon emissions. Next is the renewable spillage penalty for letting free power go to waste. The 4th variable accounts for battery throughput. Forcing the storage system to charge and discharge too aggressively degrades its lifespan, so excessive cycling carries its own mathematical weight. Finally, if the microgrid is capable of exporting power outward, any potential revenue is subtracted, actively lowering the total calculated cost. This formula operates under strict hardware constraints, particularly the requirement to recover the battery's cyclic state of charge by midnight. The marine predators algorithm takes this massive equation and hunts for the optimal 4-parameter sequence that minimizes the final sum of all these competing penalties. Because the parameter vector is so compact, the algorithm computes the minimum cost with extreme speed, allowing the grid to react to rapid changes in cloud cover or user demand. The optimization engine successfully translates a tangled web of hardware limitations and environmental goals into a single, highly solvable mathematical target. To see how this algorithm handles different physical constraints, we can look at the raw dispatch data across 3 different battery capacities. This chart shows the hourly energy contribution using a small 200 kilowatt-hour battery. With limited storage, the battery cannot shift midday solar into the evening. This forces heavy reliance on the diesel generator during peak demand, seen in the large yellow section. This next chart shows the same system upgraded to a 500 kilowatt-hour battery. The larger capacity absorbs significantly more midday solar surplus, widening the purple battery discharge band and visibly flattening the yellow diesel requirement. Finally, this chart shows the system operating with a 1,000 kilowatt-hour battery. We see sustained battery discharge across the low generation hours, almost entirely eliminating the need for diesel backup and achieving near-complete renewable coverage. Moving from the smallest to the largest battery, total diesel energy generation dropped from 1.81 megawatt-hours down to just 0.95 megawatt-hours. This bar chart of total daily energy for the largest battery size shows massive blue solar and orange wind contributions. The expanded storage rescued vast amounts of wasted power, reducing renewable spillage from 3.84 megawatt-hours down to 2.82. Across all three scenarios, the dispatch algorithm maintained full service reliability with strictly zero unmet load. The data proves that physical battery capacity is the absolute bottleneck. Without adequate storage, even the most efficient management algorithm cannot prevent wasted renewables or forced diesel consumption. That physical capability to shift the power load directly dictates the microgrid's bottom-line economics. This line plot shows the optimized total cost falling steeply as the battery capacity scales up toward 1,000 kilowatt-hours. Between the lowest and highest capacities, daily operating costs plummeted by 39%, dropping from 911 down to 558 rupees. With the largest storage configuration, the total renewable energy participation exceeded 85% of the daily supply, and the system achieved these metrics using a lightweight 4-parameter model, entirely bypassing the high computational drag required by deep reinforcement learning. This interpretable framework clearly demonstrates that economic efficiency and environmental sustainability are directly linked through optimal mathematical dispatch. By balancing hardware limits, this localized grid achieved 39% lower costs, significantly reduced diesel dependency and renewable spillage, and guaranteed zero unserved load. For MATLAB simulation works, power system optimization, and research coding support, contact creativepublications2020@gmail.com.